Bonjour. Welcome to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix. First up, I want to apologise for the way I sound. I've literally dragged myself here from a deathbed suffering from man flu. Anyway, I've got a lot to talk about for this GP, so pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show before I go back to bed. You wouldn't fucking read about it. So for another year, the F1 circus has returned to one of the best circuits on the calendar. The circuit Gilles Villeneuve, located on the man-made island of Notre Dame. It, of course, laps the shores of the St. Lawrence Seaway, and it's located on the outskirts of the beautiful city of Montreal in Canada. Now, one of the great things about this circuit is, of course, the challenging corners it's got, especially the hairpin and the Wall of Champions, which has been known for many years. Because it's a wall, if you hit it, you're out. That's it, no more play. Just retire the car and go and explain to the team principal why you stuffed up. And of course, some of the drivers over the course this weekend again had their brush with fame with the Wall of Champions, but there was, for want of a better word, no actual big incidents due to the Wall of Champions as we've seen in past years. Of course, for free practice, we had very wet conditions. It was very slippery. And it was interesting to see the drivers challenging. Now, one of the biggest problems for free practice was, of course, outside the circuit itself, with the local Montreal police deciding to inform people, especially those using the metro system, and fans trying to get access to the circuit, that FP1 and FP2 had been cancelled, which, of course, pissed off Formula 1 management. They had the shits. They called emergency management with the Montreal police to say, can you please explain why you made this announcement? To thousands of fans turning them away. Now, interesting for qualies, first time since 97 that we've had a dead heat, which was a triple dead heat back in 97 at Jerez for the European GP. But this was a dead heat between Russell and Verstappen, and it was certainly a lap of the gods for Russell, because he absolutely was balls out in that car to try and bring the neck out of it, and Max did his best, but of course, being a dead heat, Russell got the time first, so he kept it. And of course, the rain continued over the course of the weekend, and we had another wet start. Canada's had a lot of issues with rain over the years. It always seems to rain every time they go there. But this was another wet start. Everyone but the Haas went out on inters, and the Haas went, of course, on full wets. And to watch K-Mag absolutely flying through the market to get himself to the pointy end of it on a set of full wets was just incredible to watch, considering the car is underdeveloped, and they had to change the aero to suit the wet tyres, of course. But it was good to see Haas, getting some airtime at least, and being seen having a go. Of course, as the rain receded, there was one quick shower, but the drying line continued, and they stayed out on inters because there wasn't another planned shower of rain, so it was a case of trying to keep your boots cold and find a wet patch when you could. Yeah, Albon, he had the overtake, I think, of the season so far, when he came up towards the last two turns in the Wall of Champions corner and went past, I believe it was one of the the RBs, the V-carbs, and I believe Gasly, and he just nailed it through there and just said, get out of my way, I'm coming through. So that was an unbelievable overtake, and I think one of the best of the season we'll see. Great close running at the front, especially challenging with they were trying to balance their inters and make sure they didn't cook them, and were able to keep going. But obviously Verstappen was there, and the two McLarens are still showing some good pace while managing their boots. Now Perez, he's been given a 5-place grid penalty and a fine, €25,000 for his off when he parked his RB20 into the wall, busted the rear end. Now for some reason, the team didn't want another safety car, because obviously that was going to affect Max, or it was going to aid Max, but either way they didn't want another safety car to come out after Logan Sargent had binned his car. So they told Perez to drag the car back, and that's hence why he's got this fine, which I think is a stupid decision by the team. You should have just allowed for the safety car and for Perez's car to be cleared normally. So at the end of the race, obviously Gasly and Ocon did come back in the points, which was good for Alpine, which is a team that's been struggling. But Ocon was very critical, as per this image, with his detailed quote about the team, saying he's doing all he can, all the best he can to drive the skin off the car, but the team aren't playing game with him. So whether he's looking for an early exit from his contract for this season God only knows. But the rumour is he's, of course, signed a 1-year contract with Mercedes before they plant Antonelli in the seat in 26 with the new regs. Now, the other driver to talk about, of course, is Sainz. He's potentially off to Williams. They believe that he's signed a contract that's going to be announced the next 2 weeks before the Spanish Grand Prix, that he's going to take Logan Sargent's seat off him. Now, the big controversial discussion over the weekend was, of course, Jacques Villeneuve, the Canadian, criticising Ricciardo, saying, why is he in F1? Well, Ricciardo, of course, came back and had his 2 cents to throw it back at Jacques, saying he's just wasting his time. I'm not going to bother replying to him. I'm a bit 50-50 on it. Maybe Ricciardo's time is up, and that, Tsunoda has certainly shown Ricciardo that he's there to retain his seat, which obviously he signed another 1-year extension on his contract with VCARB. That's Tsunoda at least. So Ricciardo, we're going to wait and see what happens with him, but maybe it is career over, and maybe he's had his chance with just about every team on the grid to get his wins, but he's never had the championship that obviously Jacques did win with Williams. So I'm 50-50 on the debate between those 2 blokes. Everyone's got their own comment, and some say Villeneuve should just shut up and walk away. He's a retired champion. But it's open for discussion, that's for sure. Of course, it was a weekend to forget for Williams and Ferrari, with both cars retiring. I think Logan Sargent just keeps proving to himself that he's not up for F1, and he'll probably end up back in IndyCar, where most drivers who can't cut the mustard in F1 end up. And for Ferrari, they just had issues with the cars, so that was it for them. And, of course, Albon ended up binning it. I thought he was going to come home with a point, or at least 1 point for the team, but it wasn't to be. So overall, I'm going to say, great race in the conditions. It was wet. As Patrick Lemire said, just add water and it just, it escalates it like a gremlin almost. Compared to what we saw at Monaco, it was certainly a great race. And I'll give it 5 out of 5. It's one of the better races I've seen in a long time. And always Canada, it's a race you can guarantee it's going to deliver good action. So that's it for this edition, I should say, of DURKO's Notebook for the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix. As I fail with my ill health at the moment, I'm going to say farewell, au revoir, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for the Spanish Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.